All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome in. I'm WCA3 Chief Meteorologist Kevin Lighty, coming to you here from the Weather Center, where we are watching this latest winter event that is occurring across the area. Some of you have rain, some of you have sleet, some of you maybe getting a little bit of snow, and it is a mixed bag of precipitation that is out there. And so what we're going to do is we're going to kind of go in depth here and talk about exactly what to expect as we go throughout tonight in terms of amounts and who stands the best chance to get what. I can tell you we're kind of in the heart of things here over the next several hours, where things will start to get a little bit more active for us, and we're going to have some of the largest impacts with some accumulation of ice. I can tell you this, already outside in our back parking lot in the studio here, there's a nice glaze of ice on some of those elevated surfaces and whatnot. And you can see here lots of precipitation that continues to show up here on the radar tonight. And again, only probably going to ramp up a little bit more over the next couple of hours. So joining along with me here as well is meteorologist Jacob Dickey. He has actually been out in the storm tracker here throughout the course of this evening, and we're going to switch things on over to Jacob. You are where exactly right now?
Hey Kevin, I'm in Gilman right now in Iroquois County. It's where Iroquois West High School is. And so we came all the way up here from over in Clinton, where we started for the day, and followed this first batch of freezing rain and sleet that came on in. Right now, I'll turn the view, we're looking into downtown. It has slowed down considerably. Just a very light mist is falling across the area at this time. Even though radar looks dry, that shallow layer of moisture at the surface just spitting out enough here to where we're still adding little by little as far as things go. In this particular area, Kevin, I haven't seen a lot of ice accumulation in like Gilman and Onarga where we were earlier. Just to the west, though, that edge of the heavy band just to the west of us that came through earlier, that actually had quite some substantial ice accumulation. It caught me a little off guard with how fast it was coming down, especially from about Farmer City to Bellflower to Gibson City, on up to Melvin and Roberts, and then in Thawville. I had to stop at about every one of those towns to scrape the windshield because of how fast the ice was coming down. My car heater couldn't keep up, the windshield wipers couldn't keep up. My car's got a glaze of ice on it right now, I can still see here, and so it was coming down pretty good there. The main roads were okay, and they were salting those. The IDOT crews were out on the state highways. Some local towns had plows out. Those heavily trafficked roads seemed to not have as much ice on them as of immediately. That wasn't the case, though. For some of the side streets. I stopped in Melvin, and I was sliding around pretty good on those roads. That's one of the big concerns with these ice events here. The bar for impacts is a lot lower than it is for snow. We can get 3, 4, 5 inches of snow, and sometimes the roads won't be all that bad, but a glaze of ice is enough to make things real slippery out here in parts of the area. So we're sitting in Gilman right now. It was a lot icier to the west. We're getting another band coming our way, Kevin. I'm sure you'll tell people about that, and as it does so, we'll make some adjustments on what we're going to do for the newscasts at 9 and 10. Kevin, I like to get into the action, so we're going to find some of the higher impact areas here, whether or not we decide to go with the snow, or that may be just to our north and west, or we stick in this band of freezing rain. We'll wait and see how it plays out, but certainly not done yet. And the mist right now, too, I think maybe, I don't want to be misleading. A lot of times when you get that real fine mist, and you already have a little ice down, that's when you can start to add things up pretty successfully. That heavier rain can sometimes even slow down the pace of ice accumulation. You get that steady, fine mist, it gets slushy and icy in a heartbeat. I just peeked out, I didn't notice this, Kevin. My antenna on my car it's got to have a good solid ½ inch of ice off to the side there. I don't have a camera shot of it, but the front covered in ice, the windshield wipers covered with ice, my mirrors are covered with ice, a lot of ice on those elevated surfaces, starting to make it to some of those surface streets, especially those that are not salted. So we'll continue to watch it out here, Kevin, and whatnot, as this freezing rain, sleet, wintry mix mess continues to unfold. So that's what we've got in the meantime for you, Kevin. I'm going to send it back to you. You'll talk a little bit more about what's going on. And what I'll do, Kevin, is I will jump ship and head down one of the highways here, and we'll do a little live report from the road on the move to give a better idea. I'll probably jump to the interstate and maybe drive south just a little bit towards Onarga, maybe make it as far south as Buckley here, and then we'll adjust for the newscast tonight. Reporting in Gilman right now. I'll send it back to you, Kevin, in the studio.
All right, thanks a lot, Jacob. Appreciate it there out in the storm tracker. And he's going to continue to make his way around. What we're going to do is get into a little bit more of what's going on here weather-wise. And again, what we've got is a pretty good little area here between Rantoul and Champaign where we've got the ice, okay? That is freezing rain that we're dealing with there in those areas. And so, again, it is very important. We want you to stay safe if you're going out and about here tonight because it is slick. There is ice out there, obviously, and you can see that between Ludlow and just south of Gibson City, Bellflower, the darker the purples are, the more that we've got in terms of some of that freezing rain. Then you get back here towards Peoria, and it's trying to show a little snow. But take a look down here near Mattoon, Charleston. Some of that green is going to be just rain because our temperatures are above that freezing mark, which is so crucial about this. Take a look, and you can see Mattoon, you're 33. 32 is the magic number where you get things to freeze. We all learned that back in 8th grade science. So we know that frozen there at 32 and below, and you've got that around Bloomington and Watseka. There is that winter weather advisory that is in effect here for many areas, except for locations down near I-70. And that's actually where we've got more of the rain that's going to occur. As you get up towards I-74 and I-72 and points to the north, you're going to see more of that ice and freezing rain and maybe some of that sleet mixed in there at times as well. So again, this is kind of that crucial time. I want to stress this to everybody about this. This is going to be similar to the event that we had just right around the new year. There was a few places that picked up, a tenth, 2/10 of an inch of ice. So this is not, going to be just the most, shut down kind of everything's going to come to a halt kind of storm, but it is enough to give pause, to be careful out there, take some extra time if you're going to be out late tonight or early tomorrow morning. But we have seen systems like this before as early as just, again, a couple of weeks ago here. So we're going to see this snow, freezing rain and sleet to continue. Let's show you what our graphic here that talks about the impacts here. Notice the red areas here showing the impacts there, especially north of I-74 and I-72. That's where we think the highest amounts of some of that freezing rain is going to occur. So you're talking about areas there between, I'd say around Rantoul, maybe Hoopston to Watseka, up towards Melvin or Oregon, those areas there, and over into McLean County have that best chance. And then maybe some snow as you get a little bit more north of that. We have been kind of highlighting all along that the actual area of highest ice is going to be here along and north of I-74, I-72, kind of where that yellow shaded area is. We talked about maybe, a tenth or two of an inch of ice accumulation. And it all kind of depends upon what happens here over the next several hours. But that kind of falls off quite a bit as you go to the south, and that's why we're not forecasting as much for areas, again, kind of down into portions of Coles County and whatnot. We think a little bit more of an issue will be closer to I-74. That's exactly what is happening here when we just look at the storm tracker Doppler radar. Notice, again, you get some of that pink color is where the radar is trying to indicate some sleet, but you get this purple, and that's the bad stuff. Okay, between Farmer City and Clinton and Rantoul, that's when you can get that glaze of ice, even over towards Potomac there in Bismarck. So it's going to be that area right through there that we've got the worst of this. And let's put a little bit of a loop on it so you can kind of see exactly what is going on. And there again is the view of the radar showing that precipitation lifting north. So if you haven't had much into Fort and Iroquois County yet, that is moving to the north, and that is going to see, those areas are going to see that icing begin to really kind of build up here a little bit. So again, we've got a lot of you that are tuned in and watching with us. We see your comments here that are scrolling along as well. I would like to highlight some of those here with us here tonight, and we will answer maybe some of the questions that you may have. So feel free in the comments there, and if you have a question about just what to expect here with tonight's activity, go ahead and throw that down there, and we will do our best to talk about and answer some of your guys' questions in terms of this storm system as it continues to move across the area. So what we've got right now is our winter storm is bringing a little bit of that ice. For those of you that are, again, down to the south, we're probably not going to see a whole lot. There's not going to be a ton down in, I would even venture a guess to say, as far south as Shelbyville, down around Casey and Cumberland County and Toledo. You guys probably won't see a whole lot. You're going to be more rain. You're going to be right just above that freezing mark there. But as you get up north, as those colors start to change on the radar here, you can see that a little bit worse for those locations here that are going to be impacted by some of this ice and snow moving across the area. So let's answer some of the questions that are popping up here in the chat, and we will see what's going on. Okay, so kind of a funny comment. Tia says it's slicker than a glazed donut in Bemint, so there you go. How about that? Villagrove has no power, according to a Jenny that is over there. And if you just excuse me for a second, I'm going to switch this graphic that is on our little weather monitor there, because it'll show us the updated radar. There we go. Come back to you here. So Villagrove has no power. You're welcome, Stephen. Power is out also in Welton. So in Weldon and in Villagrove, we're getting reports of power being out over there. Lights are off and on in Buckley, we're being told there. And a lot of this is being exacerbated by the wind. There's a pretty strong little breeze out there. If you've noticed, it's a 20 mile per hour wind. So that wind is pretty good. So look out there. We got a question here about Rantoul. Sherry, I think, you're going to have to watch out up there near Rantoul as some of that ice begins to accumulate a little bit more. We're seeing kind of that stronger area of precipitation that is actually moving in there here right now. Let's see here. Danville, ice or snow? Probably freezing rain and some sleet for the Danville area there. Is Newman going to see much ice? I don't think so. I think Edgar County, you probably won't see as much down that way. Yep, icy in Hoopston, says Tracy. Loss of power in Urbana, but it came back on. That's good news. And DeLand, ice. Slick roads, lights are out over there. Let's see here. Savoy is good. That is at least according to Nicole down there. Danville is between two colors of the freezing rain. How bad do you think it will get here? I mean, I think, you're going to get a glaze of ice over there. You're kind of right on that edge where some of that freezing rain and sleet is showing up. People skating down the road in Sydney, says Jesse. And Rantoul is definitely slick in areas. Lights on and off in Cessna Park is what we're also being told here from Jasmine. So very good. Thanks to everybody for commenting on here. Rantoul is very icy, says Stacy, iced over. If you guys have any pictures of any of this, let us know. And send those over to us. We'd love to have any of the pictures that you may have of your area, some of the ice and accumulations of any snow and whatnot. We would love to get that from some of you. You can send that to us either on our Facebook page, weather@wca.com, also in the WCA3 weather app. All of those things are going to be very crucial and come in handy for us to be able to kind of share all of this as well. So I'm getting ready to send out a push alert. I forgot to do this to our news and weather apps that talk about this live stream. So I'm going to send that out now, and then we're going to do kind of a little recap here once again. And if Jacob, I don't know if you're still listening or not, I may actually pop you back up here in here as well, because I forgot to send the push to the app. So we're going to do this again. So stand by here, and we're going to give another little update here of everything and get people who are on the news app and the weather app updated as well. So if you have the news and weather app, you're going to see a little push notification pop up here in just a moment. Okay, hello everybody. Just joining us here that may have just kind of popped in here on the live stream here for our winter weather update. It is 7:38 right now, and about 21 minutes or so here before the top of the hour, where we are monitoring the latest with this winter storm that continues to bring freezing rain, sleet, and some snow to the area. We've got some active weather here, as you can see on our storm tracker Doppler radar, which we'll switch on over and kind of show you that this area here of highest concern actually is running right between Fisher to Rantoul, Gifford, Potomac over to Rossville, Bismarck, those areas right through there, that's freezing rain. And so those darker purples are indicating that. Even areas back between Lincoln and Clinton, Maroa, Forsyth, Mount Pulaski, moving over to Cisco. Then we go a little bit more to the south, and the radar is indicating maybe some sleet or maybe some light freezing rain, and then switching over to just rain with this green color. Not much as you get close to I-70. So the big show continues to be here across areas right along I-72 and northward. This is the area of largest concern that we've got as we go throughout tonight. It'll be right through here, okay? So if you're watching us in this area, you're probably going to be getting some of that ice buildup. There is pretty good ice accumulation that is already occurring in many areas tonight, and it is going to continue to get a little worse over the next few hours as temperatures again kind of hover near that freezing point. Here's another loop kind of showing you the bigger picture of how this area is beginning to fill in with precipitation between Springfield and Champaign right now, and all of that has got to move north. So Ford and Iroquois County, you guys have the best chance to pick up on this. Your main precipitation type with most of this, well, in this purple area, you're talking that freezing rain, wintry mix there, and then you've got snow up here to the north. Now, there's not a winter weather advisory in effect for areas near I-70 because it's going to be too warm for you guys. But for areas that are down here to the, or up towards the north, and you can see all of those counties that have the winter weather advisory that is in effect. We think ice could become an issue there, and especially with the wind that's out there. There's a pretty good little wind, 15, 20 mile an hour wind that we've got, and that is really helping to cause some more issues because it's waving around those branches and whatnot, and if those come down over a power line, then you're going to lose some power there. And we've already had several reports of some power outages. We can see a little strip there in portions of Champaign County and DeWitt County, maybe into Ford and Iroquois County, where you think it's not out of the question. A couple tenths of an inch of ice, already getting a pretty good little glaze out there across the area as well. So what we want to do here is I'm going to switch back over and see if we've still got Jacob here. So hold on a second. Got to punch up his live stream from the storm tracker. And all right, so there is Jacob there. All right, Jacob, I know you've been driving there. Let us know kind of what your location is right now and what exactly it is that you are seeing.
Hey Kevin, we are on the southbound on-ramp of Interstate 57, looking at the freeway ahead of us here. A lot of traffic going on the interstate. We're safely off and to the side, so no concerns there. But these semis and cars are going on through. They're spitting up a lot of moisture behind them. So there's some light mist and drizzle that is still falling right now, and in spots it is in fact freezing on surfaces here. Most of the main roads, we've seen IDOT and a lot of the local county plows have been out getting salt down on the roadways. That's good, but it only does so much in these types of events. When we get these light mist and drizzle, it will wash away that salt slowly but surely. And so we're kind of fighting a constant battle here. It's not like a snow event. You can plow it and get it out of the way and be done with it. As long as there's this mist in place, that salt will continue to slowly get washed away, and they have to keep reapplying it constantly as far as things go. So traffic moving pretty good on the interstates. The state highways that came up Highway 54 all the way from Clinton to Narga-Gilman here where I'm at now. And in my time through that, we noticed how things got pretty substantially worse as the air temperature dropped down. In Clinton, it was about 33 when we were there, got down to 32 in Farmers City, 31 in Bellflower. And man, did the ice start accumulating pretty quickly there from Bellflower all the way up to about Roberts or so. Stopped in Melvin, had to scrape the windshield of the car here, the storm tracker, and had to do that about every 10 miles because of how fast it was accumulating and icing up on elevated surfaces. So A lot of folks are seeing that. That's why there's some of these power outages. We saw the trees getting glazed pretty quickly here, as you expect. That 1 to 2/10 of an inch of ice, if not a little more in a few isolated spots, with this wind having some power outages here. I haven't seen any outages on my drive as far as it goes, but that's something that we'll be watching. We have seen some trees have some ice in them. Some of those elevated bridges have been a little slick too. It's going to get worse from here, though, Kevin. The way we're looking at that next band coming on in from Bloomington to Gibson City to Paxton as that lifts to the north. And really, the eastern side of Iroquois County, just here in east, hasn't seen a whole lot. It's been more of a DeWitt, McLean, Livingston, western Ford County issue so far. So we'll continue to watch it here in the Storm Tracker, Kevin. It's been a nice, enjoyable drive, I guess we could say, from a weather perspective here, seeing all of the ice come down and seeing how it's impacting things. But for folks that are out and about, this is not an event where you want to be out. The black ice is a concern for the rest of the night tonight with these types of events. Kevin?
All right, Jacob, thanks. Appreciate you checking in here with us. And they're going to be out there throughout tonight and giving us another update here at 10 o'clock. So I will allow you to get to your next destination and take a little break there before we hit things up again here at 9 p.m. and 10 p.m. But, boy, you can really see the area of highest concern. I mean, it's right where that purple is. I mean, literally just kind of take it from, Decatur, Lincoln, up to Bloomington, and then across to Monticello and Ludlow to Hoopeston and Danville. And that's where there's a pretty little pocket of that freezing rain and where you're going to have, some of the highest accumulations occurring of some of that ice. And so that is all lifting to the north and lifting into an area where temperatures are a little bit colder. And that is so key and crucial to all of this, as we'll show you again the temperatures. We're right at that 32 mark in Danville and Champaign, but look at Bloomington and Watseka, Pontiac, all of those areas at 31. So it really kind of depends upon where you are, but we have various types of precipitation where it's just rain down in Mattoon. It's 33 degrees, and yes, 1 degree does make all of the difference there. So we're getting our kind of probably heaviest band of this is going to be over the next hour or two with what you're seeing here. So our concerned areas, Clinton, Farmer City, rain tool there right now, and eventually up around the Hoopeston, Paxton, and maybe even the Gibson City area there. There's a break right now, but I want to stress to everyone that there actually is drizzle that's occurring. Even so, the radar doesn't do really that great of a job sometimes in picking up on drizzle. So what happens is while it looks like if you pull up your weather app or something like that and you pull up the radar and you don't see nothing, well, the radar has a tough time picking up on those very fine particles, and so it actually a lot of times is, we have some precipitation falling from the clouds, but it's so light and thin that it doesn't pick it up. But even that drizzle, because it's freezing out there, is going to create a little bit of a glaze and just slowly start to add up to some of those totals. So here it is again. That's a look at the storm tracker. Let's put a loop on this, and you can see how all of this is moving off here to the north and to the east. Peoria, you're going to get more snow up there, but there's this fine little area right through here where that area of freezing rain is occurring, where we could pick up on that 2/10 of an inch of ice as we go throughout the course of tonight. We'll switch back over to any of your questions that some of you may have here. So in the chat, go ahead and throw on there and let us know if you have anything. So here's or some comments here. Rain tool, very icy, power blinked twice so far, says Jenny. Very good. No power there in Weldon, again, is the latest chat coming into us here. So no power over in Weldon right now from Lori, which, again, probably has something to do with the ice accumulation and some of the wind that's out there. Those wind gusts. Let's just check in here, see if I can pull up our wind gust graphic. And look at that. 36-mile-an-hour wind gust in Champaign here in the last hour, 38 in Bloomington. I mean, right in an area where we're getting some of that accumulation occurring. So, I mean, those are strong winds to have. I mean, a 36, 38-mile-an-hour wind gust, and you're starting to get some ice accumulation. That'll be some bad news here, that's for sure. Really icy in Gibson City. Joshua, could this cause schools to close? It's always possible, for that. But, here's the thing. there's going to be some time when things begin to kind of, wind down in the morning where there may just be some light snow. They may be able to go out there and treat some of the roads. I don't get to make the call in school, so I can't help you out there with that. But there you go. Morning look out. I guess Samantha would like to, I take the forecast, you mean. So in the morning, and what we'll do is, let me pull up here the model that goes into what tomorrow morning is going to be like. And so you can see this light precipitation over the next few hours. See how it begins to kind of break up a bit for areas closer to I-74 and I-72. There's not as much, but then we get into tomorrow morning and there might be a last little wave of some light snow, but it's not much. Okay, I really think that a lot of this is going to be out of here by early tomorrow morning. So this is what we got right now. There's your light precipitation. 10 o'clock tonight, you're seeing less and less of, kind of the big, what I like to call the blob of precip they're moving through. And you're seeing more of that snow up to the north, Pontiac and Watseka, and that's where you think why you guys are going to get a little bit more snow up that way. Route 136 is very slick, says Randy, and very windy here. Wind and Sullivan as well, says Todd. Is Danville in any danger? Well, define danger. I mean, there could be some slick spots out there tonight. You may have a little bit of ice. I don't want to, I don't want to over kind of do this. Yes, we're going to get some ice accumulation. Yes, there's going to be slick spots. This is not a thing that I think is going to be widespread as far as like just crippling impacts here. But I think you may have a few isolated spots that actually get some power outages from this and whatnot. So be careful there. Let's see here. Just got our power back on. It says Barb out for about an hour and a quarter out in the country in Rantoul, Ludlow area. The wind is blowing. All right, Amy, how are things looking for Veedersburg? Probably the same as we shout out to the Lighty stomping grounds there in old Veederstucky. Probably the same there, a tenth, of an inch of ice or so as we go throughout tonight. I'm going to kick this back over to the radar while I have you guys here and watching. All right, Samantha, you're my favorite as well. Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate you. And Springmore is ready for springtime. How fitting, your name. Springmore, ready for springtime. Foosland is slick, windy, freezing rain. Will wind calm down? The wind's not going to calm down until we get into tomorrow. So we're still going to see these winds over the next several hours be out there. So unfortunately, we will not be seeing that. Very windy north of Henning, we're being told here as well. So there we go. Okay, guys, that's a little bit of an update that we've got for you here so far. Answered a bunch of your questions here. Still, we've got this area, Clinton right now. I mean, you're starting to probably get some of that ice accumulation. I'm going to just jump over here just for a second. I just want to see if we're getting any other reports from the Weather Service in terms of ice. Let's see here. Freezing rain, light glades of ice in Champaign. I can confirm that as I've been outside here in our back parking lot, and a lot of our vehicles have that ice on them as well. Windy in Georgetown, and Amanda, you are welcome. So here's what's going to happen here. I'm going to take a little break here. We're going to come back with you at 9 o'clock on WCIX, X49, and then at 10 p.m. on WCIA. I'm going to dive into some of the latest short-term kind of super high-res models that help paint the picture a little bit here of kind of what's going on. We encourage you to send over your reports, what you are seeing, and we will have a little recap there at 9 p.m. and 10 p.m. If you got any pictures, if you've got some ice accumulation, send it over to us. We'd love to be able to share it with everybody. So you can do that via the weather app, the news app, weather at WCA.com, email, Facebook, Twitter, all that good stuff, all of our social media pages. We can gather those up and do that. Jacob will be back with us here at 9 and 10 o'clock tonight as he makes his way around in the Storm Tracker vehicle with live updates from the field, letting you know what to expect out there so you don't have to get out and test those roads. We'll do that for you. Part of our job, and that's our job. That's why a lot of people say, oh, why do you guys go out in this? Part of our job is what we do. We're communicators. We'd like to communicate to you guys and let you guys know what's going on, not just from the radar perspective while we're in the studio, but out in the field too. So that's why we invested in our Storm Tracker vehicle, equip it enough to go out there and show you those live pictures from the field. And our team does so in a very safe manner as well to get the information that you need at home. So you can just sit at home and watch this and be like, I'm glad that's not me out there, right? That's what you should be thinking. Thank you again for joining us. We want you to come back with us here at 9 p.m. and 10 o'clock here tonight. And then if there are any other updates, again, by tomorrow morning, Jack and Amelia will be in there to let you know what to expect if there are any road, closings or conditions that have caused, slick spots or accidents and whatnot. Obviously, here as we, wind things down for the night, less traffic out there, which is usually good news. We've not heard about a ton of accidents. There have been a few out there tonight, but nothing major has shown up here. But that can always change. And again, remember, black ice, very difficult to see the ice that's out there tonight. And we've still got several more hours of this in some areas. Pretty good little glaze out there. Just be careful if you're heading out and about through this evening. And we hope to see you guys again here later tonight at 9 p.m. and 10 p.m. Keep checking back on our social media pages for more. For meteorologist Jacob Dickey, who's been out in the Storm Tracker, I'm Chief Meteorologist Kevin Lighty. Thanks for joining us out here tonight. And we'll wrap things up and see you on the television screen here later tonight. All right, everybody, have a good one, and we'll talk to you soon.